Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathiran. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm making this video for my brothers and sisters. First and foremost in my own country, the United States. North America, of course. And also the Muslims around the world who may watch or who may listen or who may come across this video with regards to a commonly asked question and a very pressing and pertinent issue, which is that of Itikaf in light of the worldwide pandemic of Covid-19 or the coronavirus. Can one make Itikaf in one's home? Because the masjids are closed, the masjids are shut, the masjids are not allowing anyone in, or they're only allowing 8 people in, 10 people in, 25 people, etc. So my congregation only has 300, 500,000 people. We cannot make it itikaf. So due to the fact that there is a worldwide quarantine, can we now make a solution or a substitute to the itikaf in the masjids by performing itikaf in one's home? Is that valid? Is that from the sunnah? Is that from the way of the pious predecessors? Is it allowed, or is it a bid'ah? Is it an innovation? Is it haram? Is it disliked? And it cannot be done. Very pertinent and pressing issue, as I said. I wish, honestly, Allah Azza wa Jal, His qadr is of course superior to all things. I wish that I had done this video a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a couple of days ago. What? Qadr Allah ma sha fa'al. Better late than never, right? I've answered the question a few times in a few Q&As, and then I sat down. I did some more research, I did some more thinking, some more meditation. I allowed my mind to simmer more, and I said to myself, I want to make a video specifically to the topic. The ruling on making an itikaf in one's home in light of the quarantine, in light of Corona, in light of COVID-19. As far as the rulings of itikaf, then all praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have explained many of them, if not most of them, in separate lessons years ago, alhamdulillah. Last year and the year before, many years, we've made a specific playlist to the fiqh of al-i'tikaf. The fiqh of i'tikaf. So we will not be discussing in this video the basics of al-i'tikaf, the conditions of i'tikaf, the rulings, the virtues, the hadiths, the ayat, the speech of the scholars of Islam regarding al-i'tikaf and its dynamics, because we've done that already. But in this video, we only want to discuss and attack one specific issue, and that is the ruling, the legality or the lack of legality of making al-i'tikaf in one's home in light of COVID-19. Please pay close attention, because one may say you cannot make i'tikaf in one's house because of this madhab and this scholar and fulan said this and the salaf never did it and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean that it's in light of the pandemic. Pay close attention. Because a scholar never said it or the people never did it doesn't mean it was in light of the same conditions that we're living in today. So making an i'tikaf in one's home in light of the current state of the worldwide quarantine, most masjids being shut down, being locked down, the masjids that were brave enough to remain open, having a very small limited amount of people allowed to attend, let alone are those masjids even welcoming people to stay in the masjid, having a tent, a sleeping bag, people taking showers, brushing their teeth, eating breakfast, eating iftar, eating snacks in the masjid, them praying, making dua, reading the Quran. Does that go against the legislation of social distancing even more? Social distancing even more. Alright, type. So therefore, we know that our itikaf has the wisdom that we have explained, as I said, in those previous classes and lessons, and those previous playlists. There's a wisdom behind al-i'tikaf. And in brief, al-i'tikaf is to seclude yourself. It's to get away. It's to make a social detox. And subhanAllah, how perfect is Allah, how ironic things are. One may say, or one could translate the word i'tikaf as a social distancing. Think about that. You're with other Muslims in the masjid, you may be close to them. You're supposed to be close to them, foot to foot, shoulder to shoulder. But the concept of you're making some type of social distance from the normal familiar things. The normal familiar things. Normal eating, normal drinking, normal sleeping, normal working, family, husband, wife, children, businesses, etc. The social dealings that you have, and now you are distancing yourself. So subhanAllah, look at this. One may say, quote unquote, coincidence. Obviously, that's just linguistics. There's no accidents, no coincidences. It's the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hikmah of Allah, with a decrease. But just think how subtle that is. The concept of social distancing in light of COVID-19 and the concept of al-itikaf, which in reality is basically a social distancing. Of course, there are differences with regards to people being in the masjid close together, 6 feet apart, etc. So Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala in Zadul Ma'ad, and we've done classes, you can find this on the channel, he's explained the wisdom of al-itikaf is to remove oneself from the things that distract the person from devoting him or herself to Allah. To remove yourself from the things that distract you and hinder you from the heart. إِقْبَالُ الْقَلْبِ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِكُلِّيَّتِهِ. He says, okay, is the heart's total and utter devotion to Allah, 100%. And that can only be done by staying away from certain people, certain places, and certain things. So that's the wisdom of al-i'tikaf. And this is one of the reasons why some scholars say i'tikaf cannot be made in the house. And that's because in the house there are your children, there's your wife, your husband, your stepchildren, your grandmother, your grandparents, your aunts, your aunts. The refrigerator is right there, the kitchen, the bathroom, everything that's normal is there. So what's the purpose of you making al-i'tikaf? So some scholars, they say, as we have explained, from the conditions of the valid i'tikaf is that it has to be in the masjid. Why? Because the original purpose and the original wisdom of i'tikaf is to seclude, is to devote, is to socially distance. And that can be done in light of one's home. Clear? Point number 2 is the concept of a woman making an i'tikaf. Is it lawful? Can a woman make i'tikaf? We've explained those rulings. Does she need the permission of her husband? Does she need a mahram? Does she need a wali or not? Right? Point number 3. If a woman cannot make i'tikaf in the masjid, unless her father gives her permission, her husband gives her permission, or it's invalid, totally. They say, some scholars may say a woman can't make i'tikaf, it's going to lead to free mixing, etc., etc. Can she make i'tikaf in her home? And if she can make i'tikaf in her house, what is the way in which she performs i'tikaf? As we have explained, certain scholars, they allow this, and they say, fi masjidi baytiha, and the musalla of her home musalla, her home masjid. So let's say, for argument's sake, a woman has a room that she devotes to prayer. A woman has a corner of the room, not even a room, a corner, in which this is my little prayer station. My prayer rug, my Riyadh Salihin, my Sahih Bukhari, little Marjan is on the bookshelf. Okay, I have my little rug, I have my little lamp, I have a little cushion that I sit on, read Quran, I have my mushaf stand, etc. Everyone understand this? In which that's my masjid. This is my musalla in my home. Or obviously an actual room. And a woman, she goes out and she buys a tent. Or she has a tent in her garage or under her bed, wherever she stores her tent. And she performs i'tikaf in her home. And she tells her children, please do not contact me unless it is an emergency. Do not call me. Do not text me. Do not say mommy, umi, auntie, unless it is an emergency, unless it's a necessity. I'm performing i'tikaf. I'm going on a spiritual retreat. Can that be done or not? Right. We've explained before that many scholars, they allow this. They say it's permissible for a woman to perform i'tikaf in her home instead of her going outside to the masjid, her husband will not allow, or it's dangerous, or there's no specific place for a woman, etc. Right. Next point, inshallah, should be point number 4, if not point number 5, for sure. Can a man make al-i'tikaf in other than the masjid? Or is the masjid a condition for al-i'tikaf? So, the scholars, the overwhelming majority, most of them hold the view, and from my little research, and what I've seen and studied, is that there's not a consensus of the scholars of Islam. It's not ijma'. It's not consensus. Qawl jumhur al-fuqaha. Most of the scholars of Islam, they hold the view that the masjid is from the conditions of al-i'tikaf. And others, they go further than that, and they say not only is the masjid, but they say an yakuna fi masjidin jami'. It has to be in a congregational mosque. It has to be in a masjid in which there is the congregational prayer established. Others, they say, even deeper than that or greater than that, some hold the view that the itikaf cannot be done except for in one of the three great masjids. Masjid Haram in Mecca, Al-Masjid Nabawi Sharif in Medina, and of course Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, okay, in Palestine. So therefore, those are different views with regards to where the itikaf can be made by a man. And we've also explained that as well. So therefore, those who say that a man has to make itikaf in the masjid and or slash a masjid jami, a congregational mosque, of course they're not going to allow a man to make itikaf in his home. Done. Period. Over. Maybe a woman, because a woman does not have to go to the congregational prayer. No difference of opinion on that. Okay, moving forward. Those who hold the view that a man does not need a masjid to make itikaf, they may say, if the man lives in a place in which the jama'ah is far away from him, or there's no masjid in his locale, or the masjid is there but it isn't in the vicinity which will require for him to go and pray. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, هل تسمع النداء أو تسمع الصلاة بالنداء, okay, أو هل تسمع النداء بالصلاة, عفوا, do you hear the call to the prayer? He said to Ibn Maktoum, he says, do you hear the call to the prayer? The hadith in Sahih Muslim. And man, he said, yes, I do. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فأجب, he says, then respond. So that hadith being the asl, one of the usul of congregational prayer being obligatory, if you live in a close enough vicinity to go to the masjid, or you would normally hear the adhan through natural means, not a loudspeaker and not an app, not an application, but actual voice, without trains, without planes, without an air conditioner or a dryer, without the static of electricity, the white noise, etc. And we've explained that in detail in many classes. We're not going to repeat that right now for the lack of time that we have. So therefore, a man lives far from the masjid, or the masjid is out of the vicinity that will require him to attend. Or one may say, those who hold the view that the masjid, making jama'ah in the masjid is not obligatory. It's only recommended to make the jama'ah. Why can't he make itikaf in his home? So this goes to show us is that the new modern day fiqh issues are based off of the old fiqh issues. And alhamdulillah, we've explained this many times in several lectures. And the importance of connecting the old to the new, the past with the present, the east with the west, the old school and the new school. They go hand in hand, and they're all included in the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi din." Whoever Allah was good for, He gives them understanding of the religion, and knowing the usul, and knowing the ancient usul, and knowing the modern day applications, and knowing the nawazil, the new modern day issues. So now we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. The first hard place is masters are shut down, masters are closed down, or masters are only open up for a short period of time or a small amount of people. So therefore, either I abandon the itikaf in totality, there's no itikaf, or I come up with a substitute, and that is to do the best that I can, and to fear Allah the best way that I know how, to fear Allah in that which is within my means, the reach of my grasp, and that is to make itikaf in my home, because the masjids are closed down. And it's not like it's only when the masjid is closed down, it's renovation, there was a fire, there was an asbestos outbreak, okay, the non-Muslims have invaded this Muslim country, and they're using the masjid minaret for target practice, waliyadhu billah, desecrating the mosque, but it's going to go away, okay. We're talking about every single masjid in the city, in the state, in the country, around the world. 9 out of 10 mosques right now, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah, are all shut down, they're locked down. So therefore, that would mean that itikaf would be removed and wiped out of the spiritual dictionary of the Muslim, at least for this year. Just like, unfortunately, many places, Jummah has been done away with. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Very dangerous and scary concept. No Jummah for 8 weeks. Many people haven't prayed. 8 weeks long. That's 2 months. Some longer than that. 10 weeks. 9 weeks. No Jummah. The Muslims have been making dhuhr. Very scary situation. So what's the best thing to do? Abandon the itikaf and wait for the WHO, the CDC, Dr. Fauci, President Trump, the leaders of the Western world, the leaders of the Western secular countries to decide that the quarantine is done, the states are reopened, you can go back to your temple and back to your mosque, and Ramadan's over, Ramadan's done. We've missed 10 weeks of Jummah, 9 weeks of Jummah. Or do we say that we must practice resilience. We have to be resilient now. And we have to look towards an alternative and a substitute, and that is included in فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah to the best of your ability. And the Prophet ﷺ, him saying, وَإِذَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِأَمْرٍ فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Whenever I command you to do something, then do it to the best of your ability. And the Prophet ﷺ statement to his companion, صَلِّ قَائِمًا فَإِنْ لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ فَقَاعِدًا فَإِنْ لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ فَعَلَى جَنْبٍ. Pray standing, and if you can't pray sitting, and if you can't pray sitting, then pray lying down. And there's so many other ayat and other ahadith. وَمَا جَعْلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ مَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيَجْعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Verse after verse, Allah says He doesn't want to make a hardship for you, a difficulty for you. So the concept of resilience and flexibility of the Sharia versus these are conditions that were laid down by scholars who lived 800 years ago, 900 years ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, in a time and a place, nothing even close to Corona, COVID-19 being in their environment. So one may possibly say is that if you're not praying in the masjid, there's no congregation, the masjid is closed. I'm in my home, I'm not working, why not make an itikaf? Why not go to a room? Why not get a tent? Why not go to the basement? Why not go to the shed? Or if the weather is warm, it's nice outside, make a tent outside. In the rain, even if it's a little cold, you're not going to die, get a sleeping bag, and do your spiritual seclusion. Why not? If you can't seclude yourself all day, half of the day, like we've explained. Partial itikaf. We've explained that as well. So Allah surely knows best. If it is not a condition for the masjid to be, for itikaf to be valid, according to all scholars, there's difference of opinion. And also in light of COVID-19, and the most scary and the most dangerous thing that we always say about these vices, guys, is that we don't know how long they're going to last. And we cannot be paraded around and led around and pulled by the ear and by a string and a muzzle by our enemies. We don't know how long this COVID-19 quarantine is going to last. It started off just 2 weeks. That was it. Kids have 2 weeks for school, and that's it. Everyone was making a joke. They were sending WhatsApp memes. Toilet paper was out. Eggs, milk was scarce. Spring water, people went into frenzies in the supermarket, stabbing people, pushing people over, stocking up supplies. It was all a joke. It was all funny and a little scary. And then 2 weeks turned into 4. Then 6, then 8. It was like, whoa, subhanAllah. Now this is kind of crazy. Now the economy has crashed. People aren't making any money. And then they give out stimulus checks. And this small business, and these people are protesting. And this state is open up. And we live in the mess in which we live right now. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. People have not been working for 8 weeks, 9 weeks. No money. Rent is due. Mortgage is due. They're beyond in their bills. Kids are home. The school teachers' children are home. So they can't perform their job. It's a mushkila. It's a problem. And we cannot act like it's not a problem. It is a pandemic. It's mushkila. And my advice, and Allah knows best, is that if the knowledgeable people do not become and practice resilience and flexibility and maneuverability and things that are not directly textually proven, things that are not proven by direct text, it's ijtihad, it's the inbat of the scholar, it's not ijma'. And the scholars lived in times and places in which these conditions were not as so. And I think that the knowledgeable people of Islam must practice this resilience and have to learn how to maneuver. And if not, it's going to be rigidness. It's going to be things are going to be stiff and they're going to become brittle and they're going to snap. They're going to snap. And the whole Ramadan is going to go by. No Taraweeh, that's gone. No Jumu'ah is gone. Itikaf is gone. The Eid, which we'll do another discussion on, that's going to be gone. And and then they're going to turn around and say, oh, the curve hasn't been flattened. People still have the virus. We're now forcing people to get the vaccine. We're shutting this down. We're closing this down, so on and so forth. And we didn't get anything. So if we're going to get the disease, we're going to get the sickness, people are going to cough, they're going to get fevers, they're going to be on ventilators, they're going to need masks, so on and so forth. Why not get spiritual gain? Why not get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If you're going to die from this virus, it's going to jump in your lungs, it's going to kill you. What's the purpose of wearing a mask if it can get through your eyes? So why not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of your ability? So therefore, in brief and in summary, this is a brief discussion. It seems to me, in my humble opinion, and my little knowledge, is that it's permissible to make itikaf in one's home for a man and for a woman, in light of what's going on in the world today, and the masjids are shut down. As far as a woman making an itikaf in her home, then that is something, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, which is a discussion outside of the pandemic. as we've mentioned. Okay, a woman making itikaf in the masjid, that's an issue. We've been discussing that outside of the pandemic. But now we're talking about a man who cannot go to the masjid. Can he and should he make a tent in his house or lock himself in a room, tell his wife kindly, his children kindly not to disturb him unless it's a necessity? They'll bring him food. He goes to the bathroom, he goes back, and he does that because he's at home anyway. I'm not working. Masjid is shut down. I can't even go watch a basketball game or baseball game. It's May, so baseball should have started up. Right? I can't even go watch a hockey game. Can't do anything. I'm not going outside to hang out. I'm not going outside to work. I'm not going outside to worship. I'm in the house all day. So shouldn't I make it to calf? So therefore, I think and I feel, looking into those statements and those fatwa and those madhahib of the ulama who've investigated the proofs and evidences, I don't see anything strong or anything solid, anything concrete that prohibits a man from making itikaf in his home in light of the Covid-19 pandemic. Allah surely knows best. With Him is all success. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to your comments, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan.